Happy Friday to the viewing audience. Thank you for your patience. Pre-Christmas wishes to all of you who celebrate Christmas. This commentary is pertaining to the Idaho 4 Slayings. Would the killer return to the scene of the crime? Would he? Why not? Has the killer been back to that house? Not necessarily on the property, because of course they had agents and police there same day the kids were discovered, but has he been in the general area, drove by, walked by? Does he live close to the property? Because think about it, if he lives close, such as those apartments to the right or across the street or any of the houses behind and to the side of this home, he could just stare out the window, have a bullseye view. Thank you for joining me. News Nation is the source. Please bundle up, stay warm, bring your pets inside. Happy holidays, everybody. News Nation.
Do killers really insert themselves like that very often into crime scenes? Do they revel in this? And how would police tell the difference between a killer and a crime tourist? And are they watching now? I want to bring in Chris Swecker. He's a former assistant director of the FBI Criminal Investigations Unit. So what about that, Chris? It's sort of a new thing that we're starting to see a lot more crime tourism, people coming to these locations than maybe they used to. It's not that it's new, it's just becoming very popular. Do the police stake out and watch carefully to see who the tourist and who has, maybe a different behavior?
Yeah, I think they should, Ashley. I don't see any evidence that they're doing that in this case. What I have read and heard is that there's a private security guard sitting in a car in front of the door there, and you see that on a lot of the video footage of the crime scene, that are more current. I don't see any other, and I don't think they have the resources to stake out the house and the premises 24/7. I don't think it's practical. And I just don't think they have the resources to do it. But they should be videoing. All you have to do is to put a camera up and you can video everyone who comes and goes around the whole perimeter of the house. It wouldn't take more than 2 or 3 cameras to do that. But you know
what? They did that at Brian Laundrie's house. They did that. They did it from the neighbor from the back. They put up a camera to see if anybody came in and out the back. I think they were looking to see if Brian himself was going to come in or leave, but they've done it. So you're right. And can I just ask you, what would they be looking for? I have no idea what kind of signs we'd be talking about. What would the behaviors be of a crime tourist that might actually be the killer?
Yeah, I don't know. The behavioral scientists would be the best to answer that question. But I would say it's probably someone who's by themselves and someone who's male and who doesn't fit in, to the neighborhood, if you will. It's someone who is a loner, and you can tell from a distance that this is someone who's not not accompanied by others, and maybe lingers longer than they should. But as I keep seeing evidence of the lack of sophistication of this police department over and over again, and I think the lack of conducting that type of surveillance via cameras or what have you is just another indication. I think one of the biggest problems here is that they didn't expand the crime scene out to cover the area behind the house early enough. I think that place was conducive to footprints, a lot of snow, or there was snow and mud in the area, and I saw that they had not broke that off until 2 or 3 days after the crime itself.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because our Brian Enton actually went back there to see if there was an egress from the back of the house, that porch that you see under the support beams. And there was a whole path that wound up through those woods and up to the neighborhood above. We're going to take you on that path a little bit later in the show. So if our viewers are wondering what it looks like if you were the killer running out the back and through the woods, we're going to actually show you. Brian's piece is going to run a little bit later. So Chris, I do have this question about what on earth would a killer be thinking coming back to the crime scene? I would imagine it'd be quite thrilling to think you could hold one over on everybody and be right there in plain sight. But I also wonder if there's a latency to it. Would they wait a particular period of time, a longer period of time, and come back when maybe the coast was clear to get that thrill with a little less danger?
It's not unusual, I would say, with thrill killers. Ted Bundy is the worst example of that, and there have been many other examples of the killer coming back at some point to the crime scene. Sometimes in some bizarre circumstances, and Bundy again is another example, to the body that they had dumped somewhere in a remote location. They just went back and just I hate to describe it like this, but surveyed their handiwork. That's the thrill killer. That's the killer that has the impulse and is sick enough to conduct this type of killing to begin with. This is, I really think this is someone very similar to Ted Bundy's psyche in this case, because I think this is someone that's
fascinating and frightening. So in that respect, there's crime scene tape still up. If the crime tourists respect the crime scene tape, stay on the outside, is it any impediment to the investigation?
I don't think so. As long as that crime scene tape, that the crime scene itself has been fully exploited, if you will, that they've conducted all the forensics, all the searches in the perimeter of that curtilage of that house that they need to do, and as long as they stay outside the crime scene tape.
It's fascinating stuff. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Very, very cold here in the high 10. Freezing is the appropriate word to use. Hope you all are staying warm. Decided to bring you all content before Christmas. Does this house have cameras installed? Did they have cameras installed at the time of the crime outside? If not, did the police put up any type of cameras in the front and the back of the house? Asked to see anybody trying to creep around or drive by, because naturally there's still apartments back in there, so people would be driving to and fro. So do they have cameras set up now? Just to see if they could see any type of hanky-panky. Exiting the back of the house up to that street, we've heard so much about. Is that the way the killer exited out of the house? We don't know. Don't know. Could have came out through the second glass slider and walked to the side of the house and walked right out to the front. Out to the front driveway. Loner. This man says he believes the perpetrator is a loner. Wouldn't fit into the general area. Now, who's to say who would fit in? Because this is a college town. 2, the area, I would assume, caters to college students. You probably have a mix of people living in that general area and streets that are just regular people, people who work in the town or maybe in another area outside of the area, but they live there right on one of those streets, King Road and surrounding streets. So who's to say who would not fit in? I'm just saying. They've been calling it a transient town. I had to think about that for a minute. Transient. When I was thinking of transients, I was thinking of the worst case scenario, people who are just going pillar to post. But then it dawned on me, transient means different things. People just coming and going. Starting school, maybe didn't like it, got kicked out, changed their mind, wanted to go somewhere else. People visiting the town. So I get it. Transient town. Loner, not fitting in. So is this person, the perpetrator, a loner? Just curious. Circumference. He felt like the circumference wasn't adequate enough. Took too many days to seal off the perimeter. Naturally, it wasn't snow on the ground when this crime took place, so there wouldn't be any footprints in the snow. But naturally, if the person lied in wait on the backside of the house, maybe there were footprints near a window, the other side of the house, where that road goes up on the backside of the house. I don't know. See, that's the thing about an investigation. You don't know what they have. You don't know who's called in what, who said what. You don't know the tips. So while we're on the subject of the killer, if he or they return looking, gawking, who is the killer? Exactly. Who is this phantom? Experts on incel theory in Idaho murders. This is Banfield. 6 hours ago, We've heard a little bit of mentioning of this incel, hate women syndrome. We know that there are men that hate women. It's obvious. You can look at the way men treat women in general, even when they're not murdering them, beating them up, hurting them. The way they talk to them, the way they reference women. There are a lot of men that do not like women. You know, they may say, I'm a heterosexual, I am attracted to women, but all in all, they don't respect women. See, there's a difference. You can be attracted to a woman, but it does not mean you respect her. And I do believe that most men who are disrespectful to women have no respect for women, treat women horribly. They don't have respect, one, for themselves, and two, they don't respect their mothers. Because, see, that's where it starts. Coming from the womb into the world, looking out at the world, your perception of the world, and how you were treated. So if you were treated horribly by your mother, grandmother, a female figure, you wouldn't respect women. How could you? Now, it's not to say that men who have been treated horribly by their mothers or female guardians didn't grow up to be decent guys and went out in the world and had successful, wholesome relationships with women and bearing children, so on and so forth, relationships with others. But how you're treated as a child, it forms your identity. And Dr. Phil has said this many times. Your personality is formed as a child, naturally. How you're treated, how you talk to, what your parents taught you, the environment that you're in. So let's go to this incel theory. It's just an incel that killed these kids. News Nation is the source. Thank you for joining me.
It is the question that has yet to be solved. Who killed those 4 students in Moscow, Idaho? Behavioral analysts from the FBI are, as we speak, trying to profile the murderer. And while their work is a secret, the theories aren't. Is it possible that the killer was acting out of some kind of hatred of women? Before the break, we talked about the subculture known as incels. And there are 2 people who know that topic best. Chris Mohandi is a forensic psychologist with more than 25 years of experience in assessing and managing violent behavior. And you may well know him from his popular investigation discovery show, Most Evil. And Sarah Daly is a criminologist who has dedicated much of her life's work to studying incels and mass violence. And welcome to both of you. I couldn't have 2 better experts on this topic. Dr. Daly, can I begin with you? Women have rejected men since the dawn of time. What all of a sudden has changed? Why is there now all of a sudden this strange subculture that is bonded together?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Ashley. You know, some but not all incels believe that increases in women's rights and opportunities allow them to be pickier when women select partners, or that modern online dating is mostly based on looks. My research, though, focuses on incels' experiences, and they face these masculinity challenges, which in turn affect the way that they're treated, which is often like subhumans in their minds. You know, it affects their self-esteem and their self-worth. So these online communities can provide a sense of support for them as they find shared identity and victimization. So in my research, I've found that online interactions are the social experience for them, and they say that much of the heinous content is a bonding mechanism.
So I've heard this expression, Dr. Daly, called the black pill. What's the black pill? What does that mean?
Yeah, sure. So it's based on the reference to the Matrix, the blue pill and the red pill. But the black pill is this notion that looks and one's appearance are the defining characteristics for your success in life, whether it's professional, whether it's platonic or romantic. So for men who are very short or who are physically unattractive, there's nothing they can do to fix it short of plastic surgeries. So it's really kind of a very bleak outlook for what their future happiness looks like.
They should maybe go and check out Beauty and the Beast, on Broadway. It's a theme that has run through most people's lives as they've grown up. It's not about what you look, it's about what you're like. So, Dr. Mohandi, you were one of the earliest, actually, to speak out and say that we shouldn't be ruling out the incel theory in the Idaho murders. Tell me why you think that.
Well, you have a number of things that are reminiscent, if you will, of Isla Vista and other events. You have several people, the victims, 3 attractive females, the involved male, all of whom are attractive, socially visible, very, up and coming, at the prime of their lives, participating in, what college students participate in terms of living their lives to their fullest. So that's going to evoke feelings of envy and hate among those that perceive that they're on the outs, somebody that's alienated. And in that environment, that could very much be, somebody like this. It also is reminiscent of Isla Vista in that event started with a multiple stabbing at the offender's apartment, and, a deeply personal, hateful act, and so forth. So the context, the victimology, and the violent attack that characterizes this event made me think that's a possibility. It's not the only possibility, and I'm sure investigators are looking into it, but that was what I associated to it. And, part of a successful investigation, is keeping an open mind to a number of possibilities. And I'm sure they're looking at this and other theories, but that's kind of what I flashed to, when I saw some of the fact pattern of this case.
When you mentioned the Isla Vista, that's the UC Santa Barbara case where the killer said, "I'm after the hottest sorority of UCSB." It's chilling to actually just see it in plain writing. So, Dr. Daly, what does the FBI do about this? Like, how do they track the incel community? Do they troll them online? Is there more surveillance that goes on? And particularly with a case like this, how would that research all of a sudden get very focused and change?
Yeah, the FBI and other agencies are absolutely aware of incels, and they've probably experienced a lot of training to understand their online activity. So I would suspect that when they're looking for leads and identifying suspects, they know the channels, they know the forums and the sites that they want to look for and, follow this information. If this is something they're considering, which I'm sure that they have the skills and the resources to monitor these sites and hopefully be able to parse out the really extreme trolling that happens on there, and any potential legitimate leads.
Ooh, sorry about that. Wasn't expecting that to come up. All right, everybody, let's finish this. Well, that was the end of it. No wonder the commercial came in kind of quick. All right, everybody. The link's been dropped. Since this is 2 days before Christmas, I wanted to do commentary today, so I don't have to bring any content this weekend. Just like to relax and celebrate the holidays. Thank you all so much for joining the vault. Incel. Is this killer part of this incel syndrome, whatever it is? I don't go by all those type of terminologies. Never even heard of an incel. But anyway, this Dr. Chris Mahoney, who's the guest on this show, News Nation, said, don't dismiss the incel theory. Possibly this person is envious, has hate inside of him. He's an outsider. He feels alienated by these person's group of kids. The violence was very personal, deeply personal. It was a deeply personal act. So let's ask the killer. Did you hate these kids? Do you hate these children? Do you hate people who look like them? Because let's go there. Since they're talking about some student who killed some kids and wanted to kill cheerleaders or popular looking kids, hot chicks, whatever, allegedly. Is this person just envy-hearted of those that look nice? And as Banfield has said, everybody is not going to look the same. Everybody's not going to come from the same type of lifestyle. Everyone was not raised the same. The quote unquote silver spoon in their mouth. Everybody didn't have parents that were well off and were able to give you a nice car in high school or able to buy you a nice car for college, pay for your college education or send you to a private school. Everyone has not been afforded those opportunities. That's why some people, when they become adults, they're very driven because they want to make up for what they didn't have or what they felt they lacked as a young person, high school, a child. Is there a profile made by the FBI pertaining to the killer? I'd like to know if there's a profile. It'd be nice to hear if there's a profile. But if they don't know who it is, then possibly they can't give one. I don't know. So many theories pertaining to who the killer is. I brought you commentary from different former FBI agents, and I brought commentary from alleged death row inmates from another person's network. Some think it's a serial killer. Some think it's a sadist. Don't misconstrue the fact that there was no sexual assault, that he didn't get off sexually on killing the females and the male too. Rebuffed to somebody who maybe have flirted with one of the girls or liked one of the girls. Ex-boyfriend, ex-fling, ex-hookup, incel, serial killer. Who is this phantom? Because, you know, the scary part, it's not just that what he did, going inside this home and killing these kids. He walked in there. He had a plan. He executed the plan. He came out of there. 6 weeks into, this man or they have not been apprehended. That's the scary part of this story. No apprehension. No apprehension. I'm going to read some things from Brian Enton's Twitter page. Thank you for joining me. That was News Nation. If you need verification for the storyline, know that all Super Chat stickers are welcome during this live stream. If you'd like to donate to this great network, The Vault, $ Big Angie, 129 Cash App. Thank you for your time. Happy holidays to everybody. Let's see what they're talking about on Twitter today. Feel free to follow Brian Enton and ex-FBI agent Jennifer Coffin Daffer. I do follow the two. This is Brian Enton's commentary. We need people to be vigilant. We need people to pay attention because we're not sure exactly where the individual is. Here is my full interview with Moscow, Idaho Police Chief James Fry. And inside of this commentary, you will see the video with the chief. I do believe I played that commentary yesterday. One lady by the name of Karen, she's sending her kudos to Mr. Brian for his amazing job. Prayers to the family. He responds, thank you. Wendy Davis replies to Mr. Enton, this is unbelievable. They really don't have a clue. How's it that even possible in such a small town? I can only imagine how the parents feel. I completely understand the one father hiring a lawyer, PI. He saw the writing on the wall. I so cute responds, there's no way that the murders killed these 4 students and didn't have a large amount of blood on the murderer. The way they were killed would leave a lot of blood. Even if wore a cover suit, blood would have dripped. If gloves the same as shoes, even if had shoe covers. I agree. You would leave a trail. And let's talk about that for just a second. Feel free to hit the link. You want to give your opinion. I wanted to make this live count before the holidays. Leaving a trail. Naturally, I brought you commentary where someone says, had it snowed, you definitely would have been able to see where the killer went and the direction. Very interesting. If it stopped at a curb, the grass, and then you didn't see it anymore, that means the person would have gotten into a car. So one could wonder, did the person watch the forecast to do this before it snowed? I don't know. I thought it was kind of far-fetched, but who knows? Leaving a trail indeed. We already know they know, some of us who pay attention. They already got a general idea of possibly the entry, who was first and who was last. Because as this person is saying, you leave behind a trail, especially with stabbing 4 people. Because you're going to leave it behind on your feet, your clothes, your hands, stabbing one person after the other. So that's why I asked the question before. Did the perpetrator wash up? Because the perpetrator had to get out of there some type of way. The perpetrator had to get out of there. So we don't know if he parked his car alongside one of the roads leading up beside the house or down the street out of view. So he thought, but that's a foolish thing to think that you're not in view because you do not know who has doorbell cameras and cameras. Now, the assumption would be if a lot of young people lived in this general area, the street, well, they're not going to invest in cameras. But you can't assume that. But when you are as one of you said last night, thirsty, is thirsty for women's flesh, hatred for them, you're not thinking properly. So where did he park his car or walk to? Does he live in a general area to where he could just walk? Now, that would be something to know that the killer lives right in the area, and he walked to the scene and left the scene by foot and walked back to his house or apartment, bloody and all. Imagine that. Thank you, Ms. Clark. Imagine that. Walking to and fro, bloody and all. Because I refuse to believe, for some reason, I can't fathom the person taking a change of clothes. I can't see the killer wearing booties over his feet or their feet, if we're to believe there's more than one killer. I don't see that. What I see is when he was done and made it home safely, he discarded all his items from head to toe. Everything he wore on that fateful morning, he discarded in a trash bin. Because he knows that there's a chance that he could be caught. So he's not going to keep any of those items, I would assume. But we have learned in true crime that many people continue to keep the same shoes. They may try to put them in a washing machine or wash them, but when they are apprehended, their shoes are examined in their house, home, apartment. And lo and behold, the same shoes they wore during the crime has specks of blood somewhere on the shoe where he didn't pay attention. And this has happened a few times I've seen in true crime cases where there was blood left on the shoe, but the perpetrator either didn't care, didn't want to discard the shoes, or thought he had cleaned them thoroughly. See, that's the thing about blood, urine, any type of liquid. You may assume you've gotten it all up. But we have seen in many crime scenes where when people hit another person with a heavy object, blood spatters, such as on the wall, items in the room, bed, linen, and most importantly, the ceiling. So all the cleaning you're doing down below on the floor, changing the linen, putting a rug down, you forgot to look up. And how are you going to reach the ceiling to clean blood off the ceiling? Because that would be a very hard place to remove blood spatter. Thank you for joining me. The link is in the chat if you'd like to join the Queen to give your opinion pertaining to the incel theory and if the perpetrator has returned to the house. 50 Eggs has replied to Mr. Enton. And what disturbed me is when you talked about students coming back, it's perplexing to me why he didn't say we have a killer on the loose. Instead, he talks about how MPD have always done patrols and it's up to the parents. Pathetic. Wow, somebody's kind of angry there. Well, you know, Mr. Enton is a reporter, and I do not know if he writes his own material or not, or they have a writer for him, or said reporters. Hello, everybody in the chat. Happy holidays. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's just go there, since the cat's out of the bag, been out of the bag. Why are they not saying there is a killer on the loose? Because they don't want to put fear in people, ma'am. Come on now. You're not that oblivious. This is a business. See, a lot of people don't want to accept that everything's a business. From the person that rented them the house to the school wanting the students to return and other students to come and be a member of their school. That's why there's no reward from the city, no reward from the school, no flyers being passed out, which I believe they're about to start passing them out for Xana. Her family, I believe, we're getting ready to start passing out flyers. I think I played that yesterday. I don't want to draw any attention to this crazy town. We do have a mad person out here somewhere. He may not necessarily be in Moscow, but he came through and left his blueprint. Shut up, Queen. Come on now, let's keep it real. He came through and he left his blueprint 4 times. So we don't want to draw any more attention to this town because it's already a ghost town. The kids are gone. Faculty are off for a few weeks. Anybody working at the school, they're off. It's a ghost town, literally. Things are still going to move about business. Stores being open. You understand what I'm saying? But they have an image to maintain. That's where I'm taking this. They have an image to maintain, so the image is not going to look good. You've already heard of a quadruple killing, and then we're passing out flyers telling you that a mad person is on the loose. Beware. Now, how's that going to look? Because as I said before, this is a business. The school is a business. The town thrives off the business. You see, one thing begets another. That's the world we're in. One thing begets another. I need you, you need me. And a college town needs money to sustain itself. The town needs the money from the kids, the students, people patronizing and coming in, transients, as they love to use this word, transients coming in and out, parents shopping, coming in. Oh, let's go pick up a t-shirt that says, University of Idaho, memorabilia with the school's name on it, so on and so forth. They need that money. So the school needs the money from the students. The town needs the money from the students and the transients and the people visiting, coming. One thing begets another. So imagine some of the kids don't come back. 11,000 students. Imagine half of those students don't return. They decide to finish out virtually and then transfer to another school, or however the school will set up virtual learning from here on out. And that's another thing. How will the classes resume once January comes? Will they expect the kids to come into the classroom or finish their homework and projects through the internet? And imagine no patronizing on the campus, no activities, kids too scared to gather. They don't know who the hell they're gathering with. This is a serious problem. And we know in time that people will become lax again and get back into the swing of things. And you will start to forget about opening windows, closing windows, locking windows, running out to the car. You don't lock your door back. Who does that? Nobody just locks their door to go run to their car. I don't care if you live in a 4th floor apartment. Let's say you got 4 floors, 3 floors, and you are unloading things from your car. Do you lock your door to your house every time you go back down the stairs or back out to the car? Do you lock the car each trip? I guess it depends on your demographic, where you live. If you live in a high crime area, you probably will be locking the door and the car back and forth till you finish unloading your car. See, these are things that many people take for granted depending on where they live. We all have done it. You live in an apartment building, you go to wash your clothes, you feel like, well, I'm not going to go lock my door. I'm just going down the hall or around the corner. But you should. But we all become lax because we can look and say, well, I got a bullseye view from where I'm standing unloading laundry to my front door. But that doesn't mean that when you turn your back loading things in the dryer, someone has slipped in. And they tried the first door, second door, which is your apartment, and slide on in there. Because we've all done it. We still do it. Just like right now, why would I want to lock my door to go empty the trash? Even though the door is out of sight, my back is turned. Because we're just assuming nobody's going to go turn the door handle. But people do. So you have to always be aware that no one is exempt from being a victim of crime. That's what the perpetrator is looking for. That one person that went to the laundry room and didn't lock their apartment door, went outside to the dumpster, didn't lock their apartment door, went back and forth to the car to get stuff, didn't lock the door of the house or the car. That is what he or she are looking for. Thank you, Miss Scott. You know, I do not revel in rumors and rhetoric. But somebody put this up on his Twitter page to Mr. Enton. I'm going to go ahead and say something about it and be done with it. There's two pictures. One is, I believe, one of these boyfriends or ex-boyfriends of one of the targets. And then the first picture is a guy that looks like he's in a greenish sweatshirt hoodie with a ski mask on. I'm going to read you the said commentary. This was uploaded 4 hours ago. Feel free to go with the Brian Enton's Twitter account to see the double photos side by side. Ski mask pic was supposedly posted by someone from GeoSnap who removed it soon after saying, "I don't want to be no snitch," quote unquote. Someone else captured it before he removed it. If true, the eyes have the same color and spacing from the nasal bridge, light eyebrows, full lips. Well, let's look at the lips. In the first photo where he's in a ski mask and hoodie, the top lip looks a little bumpy. So then if I go over here to the second picture, the lips could be, they look a little smoother, but then they look like they've got a little bump into them on the top lip. You can't see his ears because he has a ski mask on. It's just supposed to be one of the young men that everybody has been scrutinizing as the perpetrator. I believe he's the redhead man or strawberry blonde hair guy. Is this the ex-boyfriend of one of the targets? Two side-by-side photos. You're entitled to your interpretation. If indeed this is him, let me say this, because as I tell you, I don't jump on the rumor mill pertaining to suspects because I don't know these kids to say who did it and didn't do it. If he posted that picture of himself in the hoodie and ski mask, you were a fool to do that. And to say that you're no snitch, what are you referencing? The crimes itself or what you think led up to the crimes? You shouldn't have said anything if indeed you're an ex-boyfriend, friend, lover of one of the targets. Let me say that. Because as I said, I don't get into that gossip stuff because it's too time consuming and it's a distraction. And since everybody has pointed the finger at every Tom, Dick, and Harry, there's no point in dwelling on who the killer is in the inner circle because you're not going to know until they bring forth charges. And you'll be pointing fingers all damn day. And I don't have that kind of time. And I'm not making videos pointing fingers at people. But that's an interesting side by side. You study the eyes in the picture. That's all you have to go on. Skin color through the mask, which is a Caucasian person. Eyes and the lips. Is this one of the young men that dated one of the targets? And did he post that picture with the ski mask on and hoodie stating he ain't no snitch? See, let me tell you something. If indeed you posted that, that was a dumb move. And you already see that people are gossiping about you and talking about you. So why would you want to give people something else to talk about if somebody look at the picture and assume it's you in the ski mask? See, this is foolishness. And that means you're not taking this serious if indeed you did that. I'm not here to say that he's the person in the ski mask, the target's ex-boyfriend, boyfriend, whatever. But people are going to look at you. And if they can confirm that that's you in that ski mask and you made that post, naturally, the FBI are going to be tracking all your devices to see. Since you all love sitting in tips. That was an ignorant move. And then one could say, you can't say that you care anything about the victim who was an ex or whatever, if indeed he posted that comment. So you ain't a snitch about what exactly? See, a lot of you all play a lot of mind games. That's something I see a lot of with social media. Pretending to be other people in fake profiles, stealing people pictures to post things and set up fake profiles on IG and Facebook and YouTube and make all type of derogatory comments under fake pictures and logos and stuff. That shows you how diabolical people are. And a lot of you do it. I've witnessed it firsthand over a year ago dealing with Cal City, the Cal City boys. A lot of doxing and stealing photographs and making videos and, just all type of nonsense. And I told myself, you can't be shocked that people behave this way because you're talking about 2 missing boys who we now find out were killed by their adoptive parents. Why would you think the people in the audience are any different than those people that killed the 2 kids? And that's something people don't seem to understand about tainted minds. You're talking about somebody that viciously killed 4 people, or a child, or babies, or whatever the topic is. So you can't assume the people that are commenting on the Facebook pages and the YouTube chat box are any different than the people that you're talking about. Why would they be different? They're not. 1, you don't know them. 2, it's just a picture. But you don't know the people behind the picture or the logo or the profile picture. And you can see that some people are ill. And that has also come up in commentary pertaining to this case. Is the killer talking in social media boxes, chat boxes, Reddit? I have never even heard of a Reddit until recently. Know anything about it? Because I'm trying not to stay on the internet all day in apps because I really don't like fooling with all that stuff. But you don't know who's who. And another thing, you don't know who really liked those kids, such as you've been hearing about this incel theory, a guy that's a loner, outsider, feels alienated, feels like he can't date the pretty girl, popular girl. They wouldn't be attracted to him because maybe he's not tall enough, handsome enough, doesn't have muscles, he's not real smart, whatever his sick ideology is about himself and others. You should know damn well that somebody didn't like those kids, even if they had never died. Let's just be brutally honest. There's probably somebody right now probably glad that those kids are dead. And that's not to offend the dead or the living or their family members, but it's facts. There are a lot of people don't like any of us. And they wouldn't care if right now they heard that we passed away, got hit by a car, beat up, or bludgeoned to death. There are people who just won't like you. And these are some nice looking kids. So imagine every day posting. They're posting to IG, posting to Facebook. You think there's somebody that didn't have a problem with these kids posting to social media? Of course they did. Girls, particularly, because women were more petty than men. But I watched a crazy diabolical movie this morning because I was up early, cleaning my bathroom up. So I ended up staying up watching this movie in the early morning. And it shows you how you can befriend people and they become attached to you. And they'll do whatever they can to hold on to you when it looks like a very unstable relationship, courtship. I thought that in the movie, I thought, are these guys gay or what? I don't understand the premise of what's going on. It was a very weird movie, but it was good. I recommend it. It's on my community page. You don't know people. People will become jealous of you for the most mundane of things. So imagine 4 nice looking kids, college educated. One's coming out to graduate, but she never did because she was bludgeoned to death. Posting to social media all the time. Walking around town. Looking cute, fabulous, whatever word you want to use to describe the young ladies. Hell yeah, there's somebody that didn't like them. There's probably people on the jobs that didn't like none of them. Didn't like them at the schoolhouse. Didn't like them in the neighborhood. Because that's just life. There's always going to be somebody that's not going to take to you. Going to be envy-hearted. Going to be jealous. So is this an incel killer? Mad at the world. Mad that he can't fit in. And he found a problem with these kids or one of the girls. And he took it out on everybody in the house. And I don't care what anybody says. That's just just brazen to go in and kill all these people. That's why you have to question while there are 2 remaining. Because let's keep it real. They can come up with all the fast theories they want. You can't logically explain why there are 2 survivors. I don't give a damn what anybody says. Because to this day, you do not know if the doors were jimmied in the other people's rooms or not. And I've got a feeling that Xana and Ethan were up. Because if they're in 2 different places dead, then that means one was up, not sleep. Number 1. Number 2, were the girls' room upstairs, Maddie's room, was it locked? See, you don't know if the girls even shut the door and if indeed the doors had the keypad locks on them. See, too many questions and no answers. And I would like to hear that from the police chief. Maybe they would consider that too much information. Don't want the killer hearing them say it. But you can start to put the pieces together if you find out the bedroom doors had 1 keypad locks on them, and if their doors were open or closed at the time of death or locked. My understanding is that Maddie's door was closed when they got to the scene. Police, ambulance, whomever. So that means the killer shut the door. But was it open before he got there? Or did he jimmy the lock? Jimmy the lock or kick the door in? Stay woke. Because if you kick the door in, that would make noise. So while people are going on and on about a gunshot would make too much noise, well, how loud do you think it would be kicking the door in? It'd be just as loud. You're trying to get in. And if the lock is sturdy, you're going to make noise kicking in the door. Unless you know how to pick a lock. Or he brought some type of crowbar and pried the door open. So those are some questions I'd like some answers to. What was everybody doing? And how are we going to know? Because they're dead. They can't talk. They can't tell us anything. So did anybody have a camera inside the house? Living room, kitchen, room cameras. That would be nice to know. But this is an ongoing investigation. So I understand they'd have to preserve something as sensitive as that information, because we do have a killer that's on the loose. And he obviously doesn't care about himself. He didn't care about these individuals. Very scary. Let's see what else we can find on this Enton's page. The Sheep of Resistance replied. Well, no, let's go to Laura. Laura Distance says, four young people were slain in the middle of the night and they want people to pay attention. I think that's the police department's duty and they have failed these families completely. Another commenter, call me cray, but I don't feel like this statement is going to instill a lot of confidence in the students or their parents or the university, nor the citizens of Moscow. Mr. Manhattan replies to Ted, LE law enforcement is not giving you all the details. You're getting a small fraction of what they know. You're getting a small fraction of what they know. They may be saying that just to put the killer at ease. They know who the killer is. Very interesting. Okay. So, this tweet I just read from Brian Enton. I guess this is the Chiefs commentary. We need people to be vigilant. We need people to pay attention because we are not sure exactly where the individual is. Here's my full interview with Moscow, Idaho Police Chief James Fry.
For being with us. It's been almost 6 weeks now since the murders. I know you're getting hundreds of tips still coming in every day. Are you getting closer, Chief, to finding the killer or killers?
You know, we're continuing the investigation. We're continuing to push on. We have, like I said from the very beginning, I'm very confident that we will have a conclusion to this. A timeline, you know, that's going to be as things develop, and we're following up on all those leads.
The latest I heard, you've done 250 interviews, your detectives, which is an enormous amount of work going on behind the scenes that obviously the public can't see. And I know there's a lot you can't talk about, but can you tell us whether you're zeroing in on one or two people at this point?
Like we've said through the whole investigation, there's things we have to keep for the integrity of the case, and we're going to continue with that. We are interviewing a lot of people, and we're gathering a lot of information, and we're putting that puzzle together, and you know, we're painting a picture, and we're trying to put that all together.
I've sort of thought about this, Chief. You know, the fact that you've got so many resources there in the FBI and technology and you know, the resources from the feds, should we assume that this was almost like a professional who knew what they were doing? Because it seems like if this was just some college kid, surely that person would have been tracked down by now.
So I think there's some misconception out there with how we operate here in Moscow. We've called in ATF in the past. We've called in the FBI in the past on many of these big cases because they have resources that we don't. And we want to have the best investigators there. That's why we call in the state police from the very beginning of these as well. So we've always done those type of investigations with the help of our federal partners as well as our state partners.
And you mentioned calling in the state police at the beginning. One concern that we've heard from the Gonzalez family attorney is he has questioned how the investigation was handled in the first 48 hours. He says perhaps there was more that could have been done immediately after the murders. Do you think things were handled properly right at the beginning? I mean, do you have any regrets about the way things were initially handled?
I do think they were handled properly. You know, we secured the scene quickly. We called in the state police. We did our due diligence in getting the things that we needed to do to, you know, have this be a solid case all the way through. We called in the state lab to collect evidence, and I believe that it was the initial stuff that we started and how we did things that will help bring this to a conclusion.
And, you know, school's out now, winter break at University of Idaho. I believe the kids come back on January 11th. We've heard from parents who are worried, saying, you know, maybe I'm going to keep my kids home or have them do online school. What do you say to those families that are concerned about sending students back?
What I've always said is, you know, we're a very proactive police force. We're out and about. We're on campus a lot. We're out doing patrols. But personal safety, you know, people do need to pay attention to their surroundings. People need to make sure that they watch out for one another. But we want the students to come back. We also want them to feel safe. So that's going to be a family decision, I think, on a lot of those parents and kids.
Is there any way of knowing right now, and again, I know there's things you can't say, but of whether this murderer is still in the area or may be far away by now?
Like I said, we're not disclosing any of that, but there's some of that we just don't know at this point. We're still trying to put everything together. We've said all along that we need people to be vigilant. We need people to pay attention because we're not sure exactly where the individual is.
The white Hyundai Elantra that's obviously gotten so much attention, people all over the country looking for it. Should they still be on the lookout? I mean, do you think you've gathered what you need in terms of that car, or are you still wanting people to call in?
We still are asking people to call in on any spotting of white Elantra. You know, we appreciate all the tips that we've gotten, not only from local Moscow, but state, but across the nation. And we're following up on all those. So every tip helps. Like I said, we don't know exactly which tip is going to be the one that really secures a piece of information that we're looking for, but we're looking into all those.
I've been outside the house quite a bit over the last month. I saw on it was 2 days ago, there were some detectives that showed back up to the house. Any idea how long you'll keep that a crime scene the way it is, all roped off?
Not exactly sure. We're working with investigators to verify when they're ready to release that, but as soon as we can release it, we will.
And I know how hard everyone has been working, again, behind the scenes. You have so many detectives on the case, and the feds and the state troopers who are there. Obviously, a lot of people working the case have families and kids. I know you've mentioned before that there's young officers that first showed up to the crime scene, and it was emotional for them. I mean, how's everybody doing at the department?
I think we're doing well. Actually, we're very committed. We're committed to this. We've said all along that we will push through, and we're giving people time off as needed and giving them a break and getting them back. But we're keeping people healthy, and we're going to continue to push on this. We're committed to this.
Well, Chief Fry, we appreciate your time.
All right, everybody. That was the interview with Mr. Anton and Chief Fry, Idaho Police Department. 200 plus people he has spoken with, his team has spoken with. Who are the 200 plus people? I believe it's about 250. Who are these people? Did you ask them for DNA? If so, who gave it? Who denied giving DNA? Some people have talked about the frat house needing to be checked from an alleged verbal altercation with Ethan and somebody. If that is true, have they asked for DNA from all frat members of the house that Ethan belonged to, fraternity that he belonged to? Somebody also questioned a while ago about DNA from all the students that they all left right after the murder. Some. So let's chop that up. Should they ask the students for DNA? The police department. A lot of kids you have to get DNA from. And if you're going to go with students, you might as well go with staff too. Staff members, people that worked at the school. That would be a lot of people. 11,000 students plus the staff members plus people that work on campus in the town. Then you have to broaden out to go say, well, let's also get DNA from anybody's work job. All the places that the kids worked. So now you're talking about a lot of work. But maybe they should test the DNA of the students. The frat house, they could call a meeting. And while they're sitting in the meeting, they find out this is for you to get your DNA. So stand in line and open your mouth. Stay woke. In asking, does he have any regrets pertaining to the investigation? He says the scene was secured quickly and the investigation was handled properly. And this is in response to Mr. Gonzalez saying that he didn't feel as if things were handled properly in the beginning pertaining to this case. So I'd like to know, Mr. G, what is it that you felt like didn't happen in the beginning pertaining to this investigation? What didn't the police do specifically that wasn't to your liking? We know you have an issue with the alibis not being told to you, but naturally, these people are checking these people's alibis. I refuse to believe they've talked to all these people, 200 plus people, and not asked them, where were you? What time did you get up? Where did you go that day? Who can verify where you were that day? And the fact that they have now gotten more agents on the case, so at least 50 plus, near 60 or so, that's what these people would be doing. Checking alibis, forensics, evidence. State police also involved. I would hope they are checking all alibis and verifying CCTV footage of where these people were on that night and the morning of. I get it. 4 kids are dead. And nothing that they say from the police is good enough. And you feel that way because you don't know who the killer is. That's natural. And the people should be leery in the town and anywhere outside of the town. Because one, if they do not know who the killer is, They don't have a profile. They don't have even a person of interest, suspect, whichsoever. Everybody's at danger because you don't know, one, the motive. And as I've told you before, it really doesn't even matter the motive because he killed 4 people. So if he could easily kill 4, he could easily kill 4 more. Whether he's a sadist, an incel, had a vendetta against these kids, what's the difference? Murder is murder. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you, Jerry. Murder is murder. Thank you, Crystal. See, we as civilians ask these questions if we don't have the mindset of a killer. Well, why'd he do it? Why'd she do it? Oh my God, I would never do that. Well, maybe at one point they thought the same thing. I would never kill him. Man, because he left me, he didn't like me. He was a poor father, a bad example. He beat me, he hurt me, he raped me. Okay. They made fun of me, they bullied me. I want them all dead. Most people are never going to tell you that they want somebody dead. Most people aren't going to tell you they want to kill a person or planning to kill a person. Keep it to themselves. That's why you have to be careful what you claim when you say, I wish he was dead. I wish he was dead. Then they pop up dead. You're the first person they come looking to. Well, remember when you said that? Well, I've got an eyewitness that said you wanted him dead. You wanted her dead. Now you've got to try to explain why you said that. And then try to backtrack out of it as if you didn't mean it when maybe you do mean it. Stay woke. Because we're all human. And sometimes we say things we don't mean. And sometimes we do say things we mean, but we don't want nobody to know, hell, I really meant that. I really want them dead. Or have a nasty accident, let's say. So in the end, the motive isn't going to matter because he killed so many people. So in their mind, when they went to the crime scene, whatever they saw with one of the victims or more, well, we believe she was the target, blah, blah, blah. The rest of the people don't have anything to worry about because this looks intentional and they wanted her dead. But that's not good enough because there's 3 others dead. So you can't even claim it's over with. He's done. He's got it out of his system. He killed the 4 he wanted, or he killed the 1, but the other 3 were in the way. However you want to assert the situation, he still killed them. And as I said before in my commentary, as I said last night in my live, if he wanted the 1 dead, he could have just followed the 1 and caught her outside, or him. If we're to believe it's just one of the females that was the target, why didn't you kill her out in the public somewhere? No, you wanted it up close and personal. Too easy with a gun, right? Too easy with a gun. You wanted to let her know, or them, yeah, I've got a problem with you. Yeah, I hate you. I don't like you. I don't like your kind. You remind me of this, and this that I don't like, that didn't like me, because I don't like myself. So really, killer, whoever you are, you were killing yourself, were you not? Oh, Queen gonna go deep with you. You're killing yourself. When you stab those 4 kids, you're killing yourself. Because you don't like yourself. You don't like yourself at all. You see, it wasn't just about loathing the target, hating the target, envying the target, jealous of the target. You don't like yourself. So all those stab wounds that you gave those kids were stab wounds to thyself. Oh yes, Queen, I'll bring it to you now. I'm a deep thinker, as I've been told. You were killing you. You were killing you. They are what I want to be. I can't be. Need to be. The killer was killing himself. Lord have mercy. Hit the link if you want to give your opinion. I'm 1 hour in. If you like to make this live count, hit the link to give your opinion pertaining to the incel theory and did the killer go back to the scene of the crime? That is the content relayed in this live stream. News Nation is the source for the information. The tweets I read are from Brian Enton's own Twitter account. Feel free to follow him on Twitter. Thank you all so much for your time. Happy holidays to the viewing audience. Please be safe, stay warm. It is freezing like the Dickens here in East Tennessee. Right now, I can tell you, I am dressed down up in toboggan, a scarf, a thick robe, a fleece pull-up, zip-up, a long-sleeve thin t-shirt under that, and jogging pants, socks, and fuzzy slippers that go up the ankle inside. He may not be a student. Yes, Crystal, I've discussed the dark triad here last week. Thank you for mentioning that. Hit the link if you want to give your opinion. Come on, you guys. I almost got 200 in the room. Make this live count. Give us your opinion before the holidays pertaining to the incel theory. And did the killer go back to the scene? Has he stood in the back of the house? And that's something else I want to address too. And I meant to say this. I always have to take notes because I'll forget something. The fact that the house is being secured at the front of the house with a security car, what does that mean to the back of the house? Because if somebody exited out of the back of the house on that fateful morning, they could be standing back there right now and nobody would know it. Now, of course, they would be fearful as to be seen because News Nation has been there filming, showing the back of the house. Allegedly, they were going to show you the back, going up through the trail to get up to Atlanta. So it would be too risque. It would be too risque to stand back there and gawk and look. But like someone said, I want to see my handiwork. Let me get a rush to go back to where I exacted the crimes. Let me go back. Naturally, he can't walk around. As I said, he would risk being seen and questioned, and then that would be the start of his downfall. Yes, it's freezing here, honey. I mean, literally, he's running and it's like air conditioning on. It's that bad. Who is this killer? Where is he? And it's scary hearing the chief saying we don't know where he is. And he's basking in this because I'm sure he could be fearful. I brought you commentary yesterday where I heard Mr. Kelly say that, Mr. John Kelly on another network, that he's scared. That's Mr. Kelly's opinion. I don't know if he's scared or not, but he should be. Because what is he going to say when he's apprehended? Because I'm leaning on faith that he is caught. Will he talk? Will he tell the whole story from top to bottom? How he got in, how he left out, his relations to the victims, if any. What he felt when he went inside. If he planned this. And that's even more scary too, hearing different opinions that he planned this attack because it was meticulous and that he did get away with it. So he is smart. I heard commentary about that last night and I agree. You can't say he's not smart. He went in and killed 4 people and walked out, and it's 6 weeks later, you don't have a clue to who he is. If we're to believe the police department is telling the truth, he's damn smart because he's still on the loose. And I won't doubt that he'll do it again. So whether you think it's a young person, a student, a ex, a this, a that, who's to keep him from doing it again? There's no way in my right mind I'm going to say, well, he knew the victims, he was mad, he done. That doesn't mean anything. Because as quick as you could get angry at 4 people or 1, you could do it again. That's the point of the story. Whether it's a sexual sadist, incel, stalker, somebody that knew the victim, somebody had a problem with the victims, it's not going to matter. You still killed 4 people. You didn't turn yourself in. You're on the loose. You have the propensity to kill for whatever reason. Why would you not do it again? Of course you would. Of course you do it again. So that's why I keep telling you all, the motive is irrelevant. The motive is irrelevant because he snuffed out 4. And if I'm to believe that 1 was the only target, then why kill the other 3? Why not just kill your target and keep it moving? But if your target was one of the girls that was in the room with the other girl, you knew you could not leave the other one alive. So then that goes to, why did you kill Xana and Ethan? That's why I said I believe they were up. One of them was awake. Oh, mercy. I wonder if the crime scene tape was moved further out because they found something, like the killer left something behind. Well, 9 times out of 10, he left something. Possibly he was cut, fabric, hair. Like they say, you slough off skin every day. That's what dust is, sloughing of dead skin cells. He left something. Hopefully he left something real tangible, such as DNA, his DNA, skin cells, urine, semen, anything. I see everybody's talking about the weather. Yes, it's very cold. It's freezing right now. I mean, I can't eat. And then I'm so stupid. I shouldn't even be sharing this with the viewing audience because you don't know who's listening. But I got up and I felt it was so cold in this living area. My door was open. The chain was still on. And I said, because I remember when I got up, I heard the wrangling of the chain. And I said to the room, I said, hello. Because I thought maybe somebody was trying to come in the apartment. And I said, hello. I had went out earlier in the morning to check outside. And I guess I didn't push the door all the way up. Silly me. That's why you have to be careful. Because I know I've been very paranoid in talking about this story. And that's all a villain is looking for, that opportunity of an open door ajar, whatever. In my opinion, they know who it is. They're gathering all the evidence to arrest. Yes, sundown, the doors, it's a very weird door. You could turn the lock, and the lock is locked on the bottom handle. But if you don't push the door all the way up, the door it will fly open if there's wind. And I heard it when I got up. I heard the chain wrangling, and I thought somebody was trying to come in. And then I peeped around the corner because I have 2 entryways into my house. So I said, hello, before I even turned the corner, just to let them know I'm up if it was somebody trying to get in. And then I realized when I turned the corner through the kitchen, I said, okay, you didn't push the door all the way up because the chain was still on. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's all it takes. Because naturally I was asleep for a few hours from the moment I had went outside and looked. That probably is like 6 something this morning. Sun was out when I got up. But that wouldn't mean anything if somebody had made it in, cut the chain. And you could push the door hard enough to break the chain, I'm sure. I mean, that's just common sense stuff. Yeah, it's a trick door. You have to make sure you push the door all the way up. Because if you don't push it all the way up, it's not fully closed. I mean, the lock could be locked, but the door is still open because it hasn't been pushed all the way up. And I'm doing this lately. I made that mistake the other day. I thought I had pushed the door all the way up, and it wasn't. And I thought, man, can't be caught slipping like this. This is not good. Thank you all so much. Yes, Queen is great. Well, I'm not going to hold you all. I'm just a little bit over an hour. I had left the link in the chat in case somebody wanted to come up and give their opinion pertaining to the incel theory and if they believe the killer came back. But I'm not going to stay any longer. Hello, Dave. How are you? Thank you for joining me. I would be asking every single person in that town for their DNA, then look at who says no. Well, hopefully they're doing that with the 250 that they've already interviewed, that they've asked them for DNA, because it doesn't make any sense to talk to that many people and not get DNA samples. That would just be lunacy. And if they haven't done that, then I don't see how. I can see how people wouldn't have faith. The family wouldn't have faith, because besides the alibis, you need the DNA. The DNA is the most important. Okay, hold on. I've got a guest here. I knew that link worked. Miss Vanna, how are you?
I'm finding you.
Honey, I'm freezing. Let me tell you, I am wrapped up so tight. Only thing I don't have on is a scarf. Go ahead. I need a coffee break. So go ahead and tell me what you feel. Let's start with, do you believe he's returned to the scene since the killing?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
I just want to wish you a happy Merry Christmas and happy.
Thank you, honey. Merry Christmas to you.
I'm not really here right now. I tried to send you a link that tell you about my cousin that got killed
Oh no, where?
in New York.
Oh my God, what happened?
I tried to send it to you.
Well, you can't explain it, or you don't feel like explaining.
I would try to.
Okay, go ahead.
She was a model. She's 27 years old, and she was living in a homeless shelter in New York, and her and this 42-year-old woman stabbed her and killed her.
Wait a minute, let me get closer to. Wait. How old was she?
27.
Well, why the woman stab her?
We don't know.
Well, when did this happen, Vanna?
It happened last Friday.
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, is there anybody that would want to contact me to talk about it?
Her mother can't. She's not talking to anybody right now.
I understand. Okay. Well, what is the shelter saying?
They found the lady last night. They locked her up. They found her.
Okay, but I'm saying, is the story running in New York? Is what I'm saying. Because I can pull up New York news. That's why I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay, I'll pull it up when I come off the live stream, or I can. Let me see what I can find right quick. Hold on, since I've got a little time. Kind of cold, but we'll.
Chief, thank you so much for being with us. It's been almost 6 weeks.
Oh, sorry about that. All right, everybody. Let me see. Oh,
it's cold,
honey. I can't think because it's cold. That's the problem. I can't function normal.
Hopefully, it will.
A woman killed. Hold on. Let's see what I can find. Okay, Tamarack.
New York woman killed.
Okay, what?
Victoria Good is her name.
What? Victoria?
Good.
Okay, Victoria Good killed, New York. Oh yes, here it is. All right, everybody. Let me turn my speaker on so everybody can hear. Hold on. Oh mercy. Well, if there's anybody that wants to reach out to me, you know how to find me on IG.
No, you have I tried to hit you on your, but what is your Instagram name?
Big Sexy 71.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to talk about the story or to get the information out and give me her life story, how it came to be that she was stabbed. Oh man, this is bad. Okay. All right, everybody. I'm going to play this content pertaining to Vanna's relative. Fox 5 is the source. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the vault. 1 minute. Let it upload, everybody.
New Providence Women's Shelter.
Hold on. It's not up loud.
And that is where Fox 5's Ashley Rodriguez is live right now with details on what is known at this point. This happened on Friday night at the Project Renewal New Providence Women's Shelter on the east side in Manhattan. And that is where Fox 5's Ashley Rodriguez is live right now with details on what is known at this point. Ashley.
So tonight, police know who they're looking for. What we're still trying to figure out is how a woman was murdered in a secured shelter with the sole purpose of keeping vulnerable women safe.
Apparently, someone was stabbed. We don't officially know if they were murdered.
The Project Renewal New Providence Women's Shelter on East 45th Street in Manhattan is now the site of NYPD's latest murder investigation. Police say Friday night, just before 10, 27-year-old Victoria Good was stabbed multiple times on the 6th floor by 42-year-old Charmaine Crossman, seen here in photos captured by surveillance video at a subway station. It's not clear if she is a shelter resident or her relationship to Good. Although Good was rushed to the hospital, she did not survive the attack.
Do you feel safe there?
One shelter resident I spoke to said she saw the blood herself Friday night, but was undisturbed by the incident.
Yeah, that's something personal that happened. It's nothing to do with the system.
But it has everything to do with New York City's homeless system, according to resident Yamani Vasquez, who's lived at New Providence for 3 months. She was candid about the slashing, saying she hasn't felt secure since arriving.
I personally don't feel safe in this facility. It could have been me. It could have very well been me.
It's a common sentiment shared among some of New York City's homeless population, who find the streets more welcoming than the housing provided by the Department of Homeless Services, which told me that on-site around-the-clock security is provided at each site.
Our shelters are not safe. They are not places where people want to live.
According to new data obtained by the New York Daily News, around 70% of homeless individuals who have been moved into shelters have left within a week of being admitted.
Wow,
It's understandable why
70%.
there's so many people on the street. Because you're in a facility like this, doors don't get locked. People roam the buildings all night long. You're not safe. I sleep with one eye open. I don't sleep.
We call the shelter is not commenting on this murder. Meantime, police continue to look for the suspect, Charmaine Crossman, and are asking for any tips that will get her off the streets as soon as possible. On the east side, Ashley Rodriguez, Arthur, we'll send it back to you.
Hopefully that's exactly what happens. Thank you, Ashley.
All right, everybody. That's commentary coming out of New York City. Vanna is in the chat and up here on my panel to bring me. Oh, Lordy, such disturbing news. So he said that was Friday night. So that was what, last week?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yes.
last Friday. Let me share this to the community page so people can be aware of this situation. Hold on one second. Go ahead if you want to say anything, honey.
I'm lost right now.
Now, how is she related to you exactly?
Her mother is my first cousin.
Oh, her mother.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
They're trying to get her body back to Oklahoma now.
Okay.
Her brother was killed like 5 years ago. He was, his friend called him. His tire went flat on the interstate, and he got killed on the interstate.
Okay. Oh, this is bad.
Yes, it's bad. Her mother, she's not well at all, and it's kind of hard, trying to get down there because people, I wanted to go down there, but flights are really expensive, and I was not gonna drive, not in this weather.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's bad right now.
If we get any snow or anything on, it shuts our city down. It's like that in Knoxville too, isn't it?
Okay. Let's see.
I think they released her body. They released it today, so she's on her way home.
I hear you've been crying.
Yeah, it's kind of hard around this time of the year.
Yeah, it is.
But
I'm putting some out here to tell people to call the police if they see her.
Oh, the lady, they found her last night.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I'm looking at this picture. That's what's throwing me out. I'll put the arrested suspect and arrested. Okay. Okay, everybody. If you need verification for this information, please go to my community page. Fox 5 New York is the source. I will keep up with this storyline. Vonna, just you give me the information, or whoever wants to reach out to give the information to what happened, and we'll keep everybody abreast. And this is the worst time. There is no, let me say this, there's no appropriate time to lose anybody, whether it's natural causes or murder. But the holidays are worse. And do you know the circumstances for why she was in a shelter? Now, how old is this young lady?
27.
27. I'm repeat myself, but sometimes I forget. Okay.
Like up north.
Huh?
Like up north, if you know the system, she was supposed to be getting her voucher Tuesday to move in.
So let me put that down. Getting a voucher Tuesday. What Tuesday was that? This past Tuesday? Getting a voucher. Jesus. Tuesday. That would have been the 20th. So how did she get to New York?
She was born in Boston. So
born in Boston.
Her dad retired in the Navy and they in Oklahoma. And she always wanted to be a runway model, and she did do that. And I guess she just didn't want to go back to Oklahoma, so she went. And
she knew it's very expensive to live in New York. So how long has she been in New York?
About 5 years.
Hold on a minute.
5 or 6 years.
Where was she staying while she was in New York when she first got there?
I don't know.
Because I'm wondering, how long she's been in New York. How did she end up in a shelter? Because we know about shelters, no matter where they are. If they're not somewhere in a small town, you're talking about NYC, you're talking about all types of people in there. With mental problems, this and that.
In order to get to get a voucher,
I know you got to prove that you're homeless. Yeah, okay. I've heard of that too. Here in Tennessee, yeah, you get some help. Yeah, because one place you have to show a church will help you if you're living in your car, you got to show the car and all of that. But see, people just assume if somebody let you stay in their house, you good, but you don't know the circumstances of somebody living in somebody's house. They may want you out. They just say put you out. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But so long as you give an address, they look at it like, well, you got somewhere to stay. No, that's somebody else's place. That's somebody else's place. You can't say just because they use that address, that means that they're going to be able to continue staying there. Somebody's been kind enough to let them stay there. That don't mean that they can continue living there. So I understand what you're saying about the homeless shelter. So she had to stay in the shelter to show that she was homeless. Jesus, this is bad. So does she have any children?
No, she doesn't have any kids.
Okay, no kids. This is bad, man. I wonder what happened. Was an argument?
They said that she had some music up and the lady did not. The lady asked her to turn down the music.
Okay, she was playing music. Now, are these open rooms or they have their own private rooms?
We don't know. Nobody knows anything.
So the woman, what you think, got upset at her?
From what I've told, she had some mental issues.
Okay, mental issues. Well, that's what I just said. A lot of the people do have mental issues that stay in shelters. They're supposed to be medicated. A lot of them are been prescribed medicine, but naturally you got to be able to have money to pay for your meds. It depends on if the person draws a check, a disability check, or if they work to afford the meds. See, all that has a lot to do with why we have a lot of people living pillow to post and they're not getting adequate medical care and seeing a psychiatrist, doctors. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh Lord, this is sad. I'm so sorry, honey.
She was in a because you see it on Instagram. She's walking in these fashion shows. You thinking everybody is good, but I guess it wasn't.
But what's sad is okay. She was doing this modeling. Where was she staying when she was doing the modeling?
I don't know.
I'll have to put that down there. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know because social media people make seem like you're doing so well.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't want to tell people that they're not doing well. I get that. I understand that. I wouldn't want nobody to know I went somewhere trying to better myself, and then I'm homeless, sleeping in my car or couch surfing, as they call it, because who wants people to know that you pillow the post? Because let me tell you, the first thing a person would say, if you tell them, yeah, I don't have anywhere to stay, I don't have enough money for a deposit for an apartment, or it didn't work out where I was staying, well, come on back. Maybe they don't want to come back, and I get that. So it's up to the person that's going through the motion. If they want to continue to stay pillow the post or try to work it out where they at. She was determined to be in that business. Damn, that's deep. She didn't use drugs or alcohol, did she?
She smoked weed. I don't know anything.
Okay. Smoked marijuana. You don't know if she's a heavy drinker?
Not to my knowledge. I've never seen her drink, but
okay. Well, out of sight, you can't tell what people doing out of sight. Okay. And where are her friends?
In Oklahoma. She didn't. I mean, we had the closest people we had to her were in Boston. And they did not even know that she was in a shelter because we were saying that she could have went to Boston and still stayed there, and and maybe this wouldn't have happened, and she still could have got a voucher. I don't know.
Okay, so do you know when she exactly got the voucher?
She would have got it Tuesday.
Okay, so I guess that's what I was asking about applying. I guess how long she had been waiting for it.
I think a month and a half.
Okay, 1 month and a half. Okay. Damn, man. But did she work?
As a model.
As a model. So that's what I'm trying to put the pieces together, because
I don't know how
she can work too and still not be able to make enough for rent. Rent is very expensive in New York. It's the worst place to try to pay rent. That in LA, New York, and Florida, worst places for rent. And now with the housing market going up, nowhere to live, nobody been able to afford a home. They just did an article about that last week here in Knoxville, that most people can't even afford to buy a house because you don't make enough money to buy a house. One, you got to have good credit. Two, you got to have income. You know what I mean? You got to have good credit. Two, you got to have the income to put down and pay the mortgage. If you don't make no decent money, it doesn't matter, because people, you hear it all the time. People love to say, well, you need a job. You need a job. You can have a job. You can have a job and you still don't have anything. It is true. Most people are one paycheck away from being in the street. They can't afford to be off. They can't get sick. They can't have a car accident. They can't get terminally ill. That's just the facts.
Yes, it's true.
In this area where I live, they don't pay a lot for retail and jobs. This ain't like New York when you're trying to get a job at Saks Fifth Avenue, or you can get a city job. See, the bigger the city, the better opportunities for jobs. You can do basic stuff in a job. In the city, you can be able to read the meter and make a decent wage. You see, you can work for the transit system. Those are big employers in major cities. But when you live in a demographic like here, you got to have a professional certificate to get decent income, such as a nurse, doctor. It's just common sense. You're not going to make it. That's just the bottom line. You're going to be behind. You're going to need help from the government, some type of rental assistance or food aid. And then groceries are high. So think people who have a lot of children, they got a lot of people living with them, multi-families living together. You got to pay electric, water, gas, depending on if you, unless you live in an apartment that gives you free water, it costs to live.
Yeah.
It costs to live. And people don't understand that. And then people who work every day who may not get any assistance, they know it's hard because they're barely down living. But maybe they just make $1 or $2 over what the state would allow to give any type of food assistance or whatever. This is bad out here. Honey, I'll be praying for you, honey. I'm so sorry to hear this news. Lord, have mercy, Jesus. Just when we sit here talking about kids being stabbed, then you come up here talking about your cousin and got stabbed in a damn shelter. This. That's why I keep telling people you don't know people. And it probably didn't take much for her to be upset and go off. So then you have to ask yourself, why is she in a shelter, this woman? What's her situation and her story? And then I'm going to tell you something that bothered me. That lady was speaking, that Vasquez lady, talking about the people are roaming around the building at night and the doors don't lock. Well, how you going to have a shelter and the doors don't lock? Most shelters have a curfew. If you ain't there by a certain time, you don't have a bed to sleep in. So how would the doors be unlocked? There should be a main entry that you come in and you can't get out of that entry until they decide to unlock the locks. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There'll be no way out.
Her mom, she blamed herself. Oh. But it's not her fault. I don't know. Lost for words.
Lord have mercy. Yeah, I can't imagine. A child. Does she have any more children?
She has 2 sons that are living now.
2 sons living. So how many kids does she have total?
4.
Had 4 kids. 4 kids and only 2 boys now. How old are they?
One is the oldest. I think he's 43, and the baby boy, he probably is 25.
So the mother, she's up in age then. Your first cousin.
I think she's 63.
63 years. Okay. Damn, man. And where's the mom living?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. So y'all migrated to Oklahoma.
They did.
Okay. Okay. I'm so sorry to hear this, honey. I just, damn, this is. Well, we'll be praying for you, and I'll keep the chat abreast of everything going on. And you just contact me, or anybody that wants to contact me to get the story out and keep awareness, because mental illness is a major issue also, in our country. And when people don't get the adequate care, these type of things happen. But I'm not, gonna excuse what she did if indeed she did have a mental issue, because we can't just go around hurting people because we're depressed or off. So one would have to ask if the woman was schizophrenic or had some type of dissociative personality. But, I won't know that unless they give that type of information to the public about the lady. Damn, that's crazy, man.
And if she does have any, it's still, they're protected. People that have mental issues, they're protected.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So, hold on, let me see. I'm going to pull up something in this. I didn't catch that lady's name. She just didn't give a damn about her life. Maybe she want to be in prison.
It did her, by the look, she looked like she wasn't here. She's somewhere else. And the first photo they caught her, it was in the subway.
Yeah.
She was catching the train.
Yeah, going on about her business. Trying to get the Daily Beast has a story. All right, everybody, I'm going to bring you the Daily Beast pertaining to this story. Okay. Oh my God. Oh, is this the same girl? This can't be it, is it? This is your cousin. This sounds crazy. Oh my God. Okay, here we go, everybody. Aspiring model living in NYC homeless shelter stabbed to death by a roommate. Very nice looking young lady. A model living in a Manhattan shelter was allegedly stabbed to death by her roommate after they got in a fight over her playing loud music. Victoria Good was 27 years old and was an aspiring runway model. Her older brother told the New York Daily News she was planning to go home to Oklahoma for Christmas. Her brother said Good had appeared in a photo shoot for Vogue Mexico in September, but had been struggling for work, leading her to stay in shelters in hopes the city would help her find permanent housing, her brother said. She had been fearful of her roommate, Charmaine Crossman, for some time, her brother added. Crossman ran away after the alleged stabbing, but ultimately surrendered to police Tuesday. She's been charged with murder. This is ridiculous. That's my point. How did she get out the damn shelter? This is just ridiculous.
Luckily, Victoria was able to get to the crawl to the
absolutely
hallway to
ridiculous.
get help.
She was going home for Christmas. Charmaine Crossman. Damn, man. Oh, wow. So they were roommates.
I would give her brother your information, and he
Yeah.
will get in touch with you.
Yeah, tell him to call me. Just tell him to call me on there. So I want to know how the hell she got out that damn building.
Oh, they said she just walked out like.
Okay, but that's my point of what the girl said. Roaming around, and the doors aren't locked, so it's not a shelter. You can't just have people running in and out of buildings, and they should have them check for weapons. See, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. Because that means anybody could walk in. And whether it's a woman, my thing is a man could have just walked in there and start shooting and stabbing people in there. See, this is ridiculous. That means you're just letting the people do whatever they want. Then what's the purpose of the shelter then? If you're just going to let people roam in and out. Yeah, I'm pissed off because this is stupid. You got to have a protocol in the shelter. And everybody knows the doors are supposed to stay locked at a certain time. You ain't in that shelter by 8, 9 o'clock, whatever that time is. You can't get a bed, a shower, whatever. That's it. You got to wait till the next day. Start the process all over again. So there's no reason for people to be roaming around the building. How big is the building? How many floors does it have? Does it have elevators? What are they doing roaming around the building? Roaming why? To do what? Going in and out of a kitchen, restrooms, what? This is stupid. And guess what? I would get a lawyer. Make them pay. Make them pay. Because you're not going to be able to explain it to anybody logically why, one, a homeless person has a weapon. That's number one. 2, doors opening and closing and roaming around the building. So anybody was at risk of getting stabbed, hurt, shot, sexually assaulted. The list goes on and on. So they're at fault because you can't have a shelter knowing you're in a major metropolis with sick people, high crime. Anybody in there, you ain't checked out. You don't know their mental status. It was an accident waiting to happen. They are at fault. And hopefully your family will hire an attorney because I definitely would. And I won't doubt that somebody's probably already reaching out to the brother because they already smell it. They just gave away free money on this one. Not trying to be disrespectful, but it's the truth. Because that don't make no sense. And I live here in a smaller demographic, and I know damn well they wouldn't dare let people go run in and out of no shelter downtown. Ain't no way. I know they wouldn't. And I have never heard it in the years I've been living in Knoxville, that shelter let the people run in and out. I've heard people say it. You ain't there by a certain time, you don't get in. Period.
And you can't leave out.
Well, that defeats the purpose of me locking you in to then give you access to walk out. This is sad.
Yes.
Yes. They need a lawyer because that's the only way you're going to get any justice anyway, because somebody has to stand account for why you got people having access to walk out of a shelter. And then this lady is testifying that people are running around the building and the doors aren't locked. So that means anybody and their mama could get in, not just women coming in, but who's to stop a man from coming in there? Let's just keep it real. Why would I think a man wouldn't be able to come in the building? This is unheard of. There's no way you should be able to get in there. Curfew at 8, 9, whatever the time, you can buzz that door all you want. You ain't coming in there unless you are an employee coming out. End of story. And if there's a medical emergency and the ambulance needs to come in there, that's it. Damn.
I hadn't even thought about that part.
About what?
About suing. It was just like, really.
It's the American way now. Not to be funny, but it is. But just saying, they're negligent. Because as that girl said, this could have been me. You know, even if it wasn't just a personal issue, but even if it wasn't even an issue about the music, that's still not a reason to stab somebody, number one. Number two, the other lady had a point. If you got doors opening and closing and the people have access to in or out, that means the wrong person could have came in, which in this case, it was one of their own members. So that means a person from the street could come in and blow everybody's damn brain out up in there. That's crazy. I mean, New York is a rough place. And the demographic there and the mindset of the people, you know, no different than anywhere else, because I want to talk bad about New York City, but they have a lot of people are ill, not well. Do you really want just some random person walking in the hallways of a shelter? And the fact that the lady was able to get out lets you know that woman wasn't lying when she said that the doors are open, closed, no locks. And that's another thing. Do they have cameras in there? Very good question, because that's going to go to liability as well. That you do not have cameras in common areas of a jump off, such as what happened. So now we have to ask, how many ladies shared a room together?
I think it was, well, I know it was just 2 in their room.
Okay, put that down, 2 in the room. Oh, Lord of mercy.
And I'm sure they were getting all kind of funding. So
it's New York. It's New York. You know they were one of the richest cities in America. Besides, Los Angeles and Connecticut. That's another rich state. Very wealthy people live in Connecticut. Demographically, money. The East Coast got a little paper. Everybody know that because it costs more to live up there.
The shelter needs to be closed until they...
the shelter. It's a wrap now. It's a wrap now. There's no way they're going to be able to keep it open because they don't have the appropriate protocols as far as entering the building, being checked for weapons. So that means anybody could have been in there with anything, a gun, a machete. So just imagine the wrong woman that walked up in there, or a man. I ain't gonna say though, just a woman. If you can go in and out, anybody could come in dressed like a woman. See, stay woke.
Yeah.
And come in there with a weapon and shoot everybody on sight.
You're right.
This is unacceptable. I'll be praying for you, sweetheart.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you tell them to call me. You can call me after the holidays because I'm sure you are going through a lot right now. So just tell them to call me after the holidays, and we'll get the information out. Because this is bad. Because right now we have a homeless problem here, and then it's been talked about often in the news because they're clearing up the area down there where the people would hang in front of the shelter, and the city finally decided that they're tired of that, and they've moved the homeless camp out from across the street It's under the underpass, under the highway.
Is
So
it by UT, not by where we
downtown.
started school?
Downtown, honey, downtown. Under the underpass. Broadway.
I'm trying to think.
Broadway runs into Henley Street. If you go up Broadway and cross over Henley, you could go a little ways up to the light and turn right, and that will take you to the strip to UT.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So it's not far. Yeah, it's not far from downtown Broadway. Broadway crosses over Henley Street. But that area has been cleaned up because naturally people got tired and complaints from people. And then too, they're trying to revitalize that area close to where the shelter is. CARM is what it's called, Knoxville Area Rescue Ministries. So organization here. They also have thrift stores. We ain't gonna talk about that because they act like they're not affiliated with the shelter. So it's like, well, then why are you running? I don't understand that either. But anyway, they're trying to clean up the area, and that area is starting to boom now with businesses. So that's a heavily populated transient area going north. So people want to, put businesses around.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a problem because of the transients. So it's going to get cleared up. That's probably the reason why they're clearing it up, only because they saw people deciding to, buy property, open up business. And they realized, okay, we got too many people now coming in the area wanting to, rent spaces, blah, blah, blah. This transient traffic is not going to work around people that want to come in this area and shop and, sit at a little diner or a little brewery. They got a little brewery up the street. That's not going to work. So we do have an epidemic here. And one of the epidemics we have is the fact that nobody wants the homeless housing near their neighborhoods. Because years ago, I lived in West Knoxville. I lived in two different places in West Knoxville. And, everybody thinks that's the swanky side of town. Well, there's working class people that live in West Knoxville too. But the point is, in one neighborhood where I live, there was a proposition to put a housing building back in there off the street where I used to live. But the thing is, the neighbors don't want it. And of course they wouldn't. Because as I said, it's what we call prime location.
Mm-hmm.
And these people in West Knoxville, all the way to Farragut, people have this idealism that the people on that side of town have money, and they're not going to want the homeless shelter near them. I don't think nobody's going to want it anywhere, but they'd have to pick an area that they felt safe enough to put the homeless shelter. In West Knoxville, ain't nobody in West Knoxville going to want no homeless shelter or, let's say, apartment housing for the homeless near them. Hell no. Because Knoxville is predominantly white. You probably have a little more mix of people living in West Knoxville now because the population has grown. But I can't see anywhere in West Knoxville a housing development for the homeless. Just because I know the people here and I know how to navigate here. And once again, this is the dirty South. And this area is predominantly white. East Tennessee is white. You don't get black until you go to Chattanooga, Nashville, or Memphis. Other than that, it's all white. Everybody knows that to live here. So putting that housing for the homeless anywhere in Knoxville, somebody going to complain. Unless you're putting it in an urban neighborhood.
I don't remember seeing any.
Huh?
I guess.
You didn't go downtown. You didn't go downtown. You didn't cross over to Broadway. That's why you would know.
I was just in that.
But see that traffic migrates up there to the strip too. See, to the UT campus. Same traffic migrates right there in Broadway, up and down Broadway, North Knoxville, East Knoxville, and they travel up the strip too. Because you'll see some of the people walking around on the strip that look homeless, panhandling, big and riding the trolley, whatever. It is what it is, baby.
Yeah. It's just like, but in Memphis, I guess because the school area, it was, just we were just in that area. Where UT was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Broadway's not that far. It's just it when you come out from UT area, you just come on down across Henley, and that's Broadway, and the Broadway runs all the way to Fountain City, which is North Knoxville. but we do have a homeless issue here, and that's one of the issues is where to house the people and where to put a housing facility. And naturally, people are not going to want a facility near them, especially in areas that's got a lot of growth and stability. And West Knoxville is that said area. And yes, the rent for the homes and apartments are a little more, but rent has gone up now all over, I'm sure, Tennessee, period. So it doesn't really matter where you're living. Rent is high.
Yeah.
I mean, because in the area where I'm at, they're charging rent like, you know, it's just jacked up. And people are charging rent for spaces that don't really look like nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Like duplex stuff. You want damn near $900 for a duplex, a small duplex, but it's still small. It doesn't have any amenities, but it's just the way it is now. Things have changed. Somebody in the comment section says an ex-employee is suing NYC for firing her for warning residents of a serial killer living among them. She moved into the shelter after being released from prison. She killed again.
Oh,
I don't know what she's talking about that. Hello, Miss Miller. Thank you for joining me. Well, this is bad, man.
Oh, I didn't really mean to throw you off on.
You ain't throwing me off because nobody wanted to hit the link and come up. I was going to end it anyway a little bit after an hour. So you all right. But I thank you for sharing your stories. Anything else you want to leave with the chat before you go? Before I go?
No.
Well, I'll be praying for you, baby.
Are you coming back on later?
Yeah, I got one more live to do pertaining to the jogger rapist that's been let out of prison.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat a little quick snack and then I'll come back before it gets late because I don't want to be on here late because I'm freezing right now. It is that cold in here. I've got heat running from one spectrum to the other, and I'm dressed Eskimo style. Feet are cold with socks and the little slippers you pull on.
Mm-hmm.
That's got the fur around them.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way my feet should still be. I should be this cold in here.
Well, I understand because I'm cold too.
You got your heat on. What number you got your heat on?
I have it on 80.
I got on 78, and I was afraid this thing might bust. It's a new unit. I'm sitting there thinking that thing. I'm telling you, I woke up. The devil, he was making sure to keep me up. I heard a ticking noise in the wee hours. Like I said, what is this noise? And I said, that thing, now it don't want to register. It's new, but it was saying, hey, it's too cold. I'm new. I ain't ready. So, ticking. I saw the number flashing. Say what, honey?
Did y'all get a lot of snow?
I ain't seen no snow outside.
What? Y'all didn't get any snow?
Well, I saw somebody on a social media platform, and I assume they lived near me. They had snow in on their Facebook page, and I was wondering if they lived near me or not. I don't know, because I don't be asking questions, but I didn't see no snow when I walked out and peeped when the door was ajar.
We got snow.
Hold on a minute. Let me look out here. Hold on. I don't think it's snow. It's just cold, baby. Wait a minute.
We got snow.
Let me see. No, there's no snow out there.
Oh, wow.
Hold on.
Y'all missed it.
Yeah, we didn't get that. Super cold, freezing.
I know my husband, he's out. I just turned it down. I said, let me get it back down to 78.
Well, she get ready to go to 80 because it's after 5, so the temperature dropping. I made sure to open all the curtains, because the sun was out. So I opened the curtains so sunlight can hit through, to the rooms. But now, sun's going down. So it's, geez. Okay, Linda says, snowed an inch in Sullivan County. No.
Ice spots.
See, I'm more close to the Smoky Mountains where I am. So I don't know if it snowed up there, but I didn't get any here where I am.
Yeah, to hit the
Not
mountains.
the spot where I am.
Snow in the mountains first before we get there.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't even know if it snowed up there or not. So I haven't checked the forecast. Let me see what it says. What the temperature is.
Kingsport, Tennessee. Is that by
That's East Tennessee. That's up near. That's going toward Johnson City.
Okay. Yeah, I know they are.
All right, right now, it's got high 11, 7 is a low. Right now, the area where I am is 9 degrees. Lord, no wonder you don't feel no heat. It's 9 degrees. What? Honey, guess what? I'm gonna put on another thing of coffee and some soup, and I guess another pair of socks with these slippers. Oh my goodness. 9. You ain't gonna feel no heat when it's this cold. Whether it's on or not. You know how you feel it or when you come in a room, like if you're coming from outside. Now I'm sure if somebody walked in here right now, they'd say, oh, it's warm in here. But once they get to sitting still,
it's cold.
Yeah, it's cold. I have noticed that when the temperature started dropping weeks ago, I said, you get up and come out of the bedrooms, the living room feels cold because it's a nice size living room. It's cold in here. Then I got hardwood. I have no carpet in any room. So that's worse. Yeah. Everything is tile, laminate, and wood floors. So everything's cold. And luckily I treated myself to a nice area rug for Christmas. It would probably be worse because that's going to help, ground the sound, ground the heat. And I learned that from the electric company years ago. They would always say, the less furniture you have in a house or an apartment, the higher your bills will be. Have you ever heard that?
No,
because what they're saying is when there's not a lot of stuff in the rooms, the air can just flow. You know what I mean? It can just swirl around because it's not latching on to nothing. So it do kind of make sense that the more stuff you have in a house, apartment, it can help lock the heat in.
Yeah, and
so that's why they tell you, I guess, to put down area rugs, in a living space, especially if you got laminate and hardwood floors, because you want to try to trap the heat inside. So imagine being in a house or apartment with only laminate flooring and you don't have no area rugs. See, I don't care for area rugs because they just trap dirt. But I did find this nice fluffy white one here. She's just gorgeous. This cream looking color, honey. And I don't really care for light colors on the floor, but the price was so cheap. I said, oh yeah, we got to have her. That's my Christmas present to myself. I sure treated myself to it. But guess what? That rug ain't doing nothing for where I'm sitting right now. It's like I got the air conditioning. And then to wake up and see your damn door ajar with the chain on it. I said, look at you. I guess you're trying to invite the Satan's up in here.
Ooh, wait.
It's too cold. Look, it's too cold even to break and enter. Unless you homeless. My goodness. Oh my goodness. That is just. Hey, guess what? I just pushed that door up. She tight now. Ain't a rat, cat, nothing coming up in here. Thank you, Vonna.
Okay.
We'll stay in contact. Just call me anytime.
Okay.
All right. Love you, honey. Bye-bye. All right, honey. All right, everybody. That's Miss Vonna. Prayers to her family. Her second cousin is the one mentioned in this article, Miss Victoria Good, 27 years of age, stabbed by her roommate in a New York City women's shelter called New Providence. You all have a problem on your hand, New Providence. You didn't have appropriate protocol in the shelter. You have a woman testifying before the news broadcast that doors were not locked and people were roaming around the building. So that's a good lawsuit. Sadly, at the expense of someone's life, but somebody has to stand account for this woman's life. Whether they had a disagreement about music or whatever, it doesn't matter. It should have never got to the point of murder. And that means you didn't even check the people coming in the shelter for weapons. So whether it's a gun, a knife, it's still a weapon. Now somebody has lost their life. And the fact that the lady was able to get out of the shelter to be seen in the subway means you didn't have appropriate protocol for her to not be able to leave the shelter. So I believe this lady who talked to the news that people were roaming the building and also doors were unlocked. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Prayers to Vanna, prayers to the good family, and prayers for justice and better security for the next homeless shelters in NYC and around the U.S. Because the people have to be able to feel safe. Just because they are in the shelter does not mean they need to be treated less than. They're there for a reason. No matter the circumstances, how they got there. The point is they're human beings. And now a young lady, a very pretty young lady, who was trying to be a model in one of the most expensive cities in America, has now been killed by her homeless roommate. It doesn't get any worse than that. And we've heard the stories of people leaving their area to go do better for themselves, attempt to do better, to only be found dead. And I hear this story a lot. And we've heard of these stories of people coming here to the South to live, to try to better their circumstances because it's warmer here, it's cheaper living here. But they find themselves deceased shortly after moving to the South. And that's something I'm noticing with people coming from Detroit, because we do have a serious drug issue here now with heroin and fentanyl. And a lot of these young people are coming here to either sell the drugs or other people moving here for a better life. And somehow they find themselves a news story. And that's what has happened to this young lady. She went somewhere trying to better herself to only end up dead. In the worst of places. And I'm sure there are some very good people in New York City. But we do know that there's some that are tainted and sick and ill and mentally disturbed. And some are just cold-blooded malicious. Prayers to the good family. Prayers for Miss Vanna. Keep her in your prayers. When I get more information, I will bring you an update pertaining to the woman who has been apprehended, Charmaine Crossman. She now will have to worry about being in a shelter herself, because now she's in a New York City jail. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $DeGanji, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during my live streams. I will be back later on for live number 2 pertaining to the jogger rapist who has been released from prison. I will bring you that said information. God bless all of you. Please stay safe. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Please stay warm. If you have pets, bring them inside. It would be cruel to leave your pet outside in 1 degree or below 0 temperatures. And Knoxville has issued a statement to the general public. If they find out that your dog, cat, or whatever was left outside and your dog, animal perishes, they will bring forth charges against you for leaving your animals outside during this vortex. So please treat your animals with respect. Thank you all so much for joining me. This is The Vote.